Today's video is sponsored by Black Gold Compost Company. I want to thank the good people over at Black Gold for the generous donation of all this beautiful black cow manure that we use in our video today, and it's made a tremendous success in our garden. I've been using black cow for many years, ever since 1980, and it's always made a tremendous difference in my garden, and I've been very pleased with our product. I highly recommend it. Thank you, Black Gold, for sponsoring our channel. Well, good morning, friends. Today we're going to grow some Cherokee Purple tomatoes. Be right back after the break. Well, welcome back, friends. Today we're going to grow some Cherokee Purple tomatoes. This is absolutely my favorite heirloom tomato. Such a great taste. I don't have my greenhouse built yet. I'm still working on that, so I had to buy my plants, and I got these from Lowe's, and they have good plants, Bonnie plants. I mean, I can't complain one single bit about any of their plants over there. So there's nothing wrong with going and buying some plants if you want to. So go get them. These are a great tomato. We're going to only plant two, and these are heirloom. So I'm going to have to give these a little extra love. I'll have to prune these as I go along and pinch the suckers, and I'll show you how I do that as we get going. They're going to take some care. They don't get as big as the hybrids like the Beefmaster that I'm planting. These are a little bit smaller plants, and they don't put out as much fruit. But the fruit that you get is really good. So I think you'd really like them. If you've never had a Cherokee Purple tomato, check them out. So let's head over to the tomato garden, and we'll get these in the racks. I only put one plant per each rack. So let's get started. Okay, we're over here at the tomato garden. We're ready to get started on these beautiful tomatoes. I already got my holes dug, got them dug in advance so I can just get right to it. So anyway, the first thing I do, of course, is dig my hole. And inside my hole, I'm going to put a good amount of fish. Me and Nancy went and got a whole bunch of fish down there at the river, cast netted a bunch of shad. And we saved those shad for spring so that we can use them for fertilizer. It's a fantastic fertilizer. Now, when I put that fish in the hole, I'm going to also cover it with garden lime, which is nothing but pulverized dolomitic limestone, and you can get that at Lowe's or any old where. Ain't nothing fancy about it, and it's really not very expensive. So I cover that fish with that lime so that the smell of it decomposing doesn't come through the ground and animals smell it and come over and try to dig up the ground to get to that fish, and they dig up your plant. So always put the lime over the fish. Next thing I'm going to do is I mix up my mix that my soil mix that I'm going to put in the hole, because I took all the dirt that was in the hole when I dug the hole and made a berm around the tomato cage so it can retain water and funnel that water right down to the root system. So I don't want to use the dirt that came out of the hole. I put new dirt in, and what I do is I start off with some dry peat, and I'll put about 1/3 of my wheelbarrow of the peat, and I break that those clumps up with my hands. I rub it together and break it all up as good as I can. Then the next thing I want to add is my black cow manure. I add 1 bag. Best fertilizer I can put in here. Is a great animal compost. So I use the black cow, and I put that right on top of the peat. And then I'm going to add in bone meal because I need a good boost of phosphorus, and I also add in blood meal. That gives me a good boost of nitrogen. Then I'm going to add in I add in some more lime as well. Now what I do is I mix all that together, the bone meal, blood meal, the lime, the bone meal, the blood meal, the cow manure, the peat. I mix it all together as good as I can right then. After I got that thoroughly mixed together, then I come back and add on another bag of potting mix, just plain old potting mix. Then I add that together with the other ingredients and I blend that thoroughly together. So I have 3 equal parts of peat, black cow manure, and potting mix. Of course, add additional bone meal, blood meal, and lime. I mix that together really good, and then I come back and I fill my hole with that new mix. I fill it up back to ground level. Then I take my my little plant, my starter plant, and I'll dig me a hole about 7 inches deep, because the pot that the little starter plant came in was 4 inches deep. These are indeterminate tomatoes, so I take the plant, dig the hole down 7 inches or so, drop the plant in, and that gives me about 3 inches above the root system that came in the starter plant. So the stem is buried 3 inches in the soil. And the reason for that is, on indeterminate tomatoes, if I bury that stem down in the ground about 3 inches, it will grow roots out too, which is just a much better root system for the plant overall, and it gives it a great healthy plant and gives you more fruit. Something else I like to add in with my tomato plants is about 2 tablespoons of Epsom salt to get that magnesium down into the hole with them, down what those roots are. So add yourself a couple tablespoons of Epsom salt whenever you plant these tomatoes. So after I get the plant installed, the next thing I do is I add some bamboo stakes. I usually put about 3, and I put them in a triangle pattern around the stem of the tomato. It's nice and tight up to it as I can, and it traps that stem and that plant in that triangle pattern of those bamboo stakes. That way it protects it from wind and heavy rains that are coming, you know, that inevitably are going to hit, and it keeps it sturdy and gives it some support and keeps it from damaging itself until it can get, you know, some maturity on it and get growing on up through the racks. So that's how I get the plant started. Once I have that all done, then I add the water. I turn on my irrigation. I've got a new irrigation system for this tomato garden that sprays in a downward position. So it'll squirt 2 gallons a minute down there on those plants, and after the plant gets on up mature, it's only shooting the water down at the roots instead of all over the whole leaves on the whole plant. That's what I'm really looking for. So that's really the process of how I plant my tomatoes. You can add other things in there if you want. Eggshells is a good thing, but the main thing is you want to lime those plants, because tomatoes are inherently magnesium and calcium deficient, and which causes blossom end rot. So if you add that lime, that pulverized dolomitic limestone, when you first plant these things and give it a good dose, that really greatly reduces that blossom end rot. And for me, in years past, it actually completely eliminated it. So go ahead and put that lime in there when you plant it. That's going to be preventative maintenance for later. So always remember that. Well, a Cherokee Purple's been going for about a month right now, and they are loaded with yellow blooms. I could be happier. So they're already up to the first rung on my tomato cage. I always look at the progress of my tomatoes by just where they're out on the rungs of the tomatoes. There's a first rung, second rung, third rung, and you better believe by the time they get to this third rung, they are loaded with tomatoes. So we'll be watching these in the days ahead, and I can't wait to get me some of these Cherokee Purples. My favorite tomato by far, such a great rich taste. So we'll be back soon to watch these things develop. Well, good morning. It's been about 3 weeks since the last time we touched base with you on our Cherokee Purple tomatoes, and as you can see, they've made it up to the second rung of the tomato rack, which is always exciting. Like I said before, as soon as I get up here, they start to load up with the greenies, and you can see right in here there's some clusters of real pretty green tomatoes starting out on here. We'll look forward to the days ahead when these things starting to ripen. These Cherokee Purples are really a great heirloom tomato, very tasty. But anyway, these things are going to continue to grow. They'll get on up over the top of the rack here, and we'll be back in about 4 weeks or so, 3 or 4 weeks. Let these things grow on out, mature, and get up ready to harvest, and we'll be back together and we'll harvest some of these and take a bite of them together. So we'll be back in about a month. See you then. Well, our Cherokee Purples are finally starting to actually ripen, and I wanted to grab one today just to show you. It's not quite ready, but it's close. So anyway, these are the first ones. This is about the size you can typically expect to get from these little guys. So we'll be getting these in the days ahead and enjoying these. So if this is a variety of tomato that you've never tried before, you may want to get you some of these. They're a very good heirloom tomato and very sweet. So until me and Nancy see you next time, always remember, by his hands we are fed. Give us, Lord, our daily bread. Amen.
Have a blessed day.